opened up so you could do that twice. Welcome to the family with
Doug Sprinthal.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I was following some coffee. Co-host Catherine Brandt. Sorry.
Doug Sprinthal.
And Andy Barnard, who does not drink coffee during intros.
I don't either.
Well, I forgot.
I
That the intro
forgot.
was going.
It's been a day or two.
Yeah.
It's been a day
Sure
or
has.
two.
Or
Anybody
90.
else in the building almost been hit by a Cybertruck? Anybody else?
Cybertruck?
Anyone else? Yeah.
And then the guy didn't even apologize.
No,
for
he
doing
yelled at me.
He yelled
Well,
at
no,
her.
he first started. Okay, so I'm in a crosswalk.
Uh-oh, Alex is here.
Yep.
Right, walking through. I look both ways, start walking. And in Wayzata, most people stop.
Right.
99.9% of people will stop, even if you're not in a crosswalk. They're
'Cause
very polite
most
there.
of the other people around there are lawyers, and you're going to get in trouble if you run somebody over in
That could
Wayzata.
very well be. But I look both ways. I don't just take it, it for granted that everyone's going to stop. And all of a sudden, the Cybertruck is like, whoosh. Cybertruck.
Yeah.
So I was just shocked. I was like, this guy could have killed me. I mean, I could have reached out and tapped his car. It was that close to my face.
Oh boy.
So then he pulls over to park, and I'm like pretty mad at this point. I'm like, what if I was some, buddy looking down at my phone, or an old person with a walker, which there's a whole Folkestone community over there.
Mhm.
I'm like, this guy, he's got to up his game. So I expressed my displeasure in probably not the most ladylike way.
Mother.
No, not you.
Mother.
And he's rolling down his window as I'm approaching the car. And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, well, you don't have to be so horrid about it." I'm like, "You almost hit me." And then he was yelling more stuff as I walked away. I don't know what it was.
Oh, dear.
Those
Whatever.
Well,
Muskians.
maybe you shouldn't have been so horrid.
Yeah, Catherine.
right.
Way to go.
Yeah, it was all my fault.
Yeah.
We have a phone call
Oh,
A phone call.
from Joseph.
Joe, what's happening?
Not much. I just want to say hello. I'm Joe, and I'm an alcoholic. And it's
hello.
been 1,462 days since my last drink, making today my 4th birthday.
There you go. I
Happy
like
birthday!
4
it.
years.
Happy birthday. So it's going well.
It is.
I'm glad to hear that. I was trying to think, what is it, Catherine, for me? Like 12 years now?
I think it
About,
might be
yeah.
longer.
Maybe
It
it's
was,
longer than 12 years.
was it before the podcast started?
I
I can't remember.
when did you meet Dan, Alex?
I met Dan in 2012, February of 2012.
So
that
how
was
does that
12
tie
years ago.
together? Oh,
No,
she's
because he was
marrying
at-
this guy. I got to quit drinking.
Oh, yeah, I better quit drinking. No, because he came to there was a family gathering at the place. What was that
A
place called again?
family gathering.
At the place.
Is that an intervention?
And they call those an intervention.
No, it was not an intervention. I had already signed up. What was the name of that place again? It was over on Hennepin Avenue in like 30.
That place was
yeah.
great.
I know what you mean, but I don't
Yeah.
remember what it's called.
Oh gosh, I can't remember.
Okay,
I don't
but-
think it's there anymore, is it?
Before we move on, because I want Joe to vote on this as well. A woman from Detroit named Donna Maddox got to ride around the Michigan International Speedway in a souped-up Ferrari. She reached speeds of 150 miles an hour.
Whee!
How old was Donna Maddox when she
I'm
did?
going to guess 90 something.
Yeah, I was going to say very old.
I'm with Andy.
80.
Yeah, I'd say in their 90s.
94 years
Yeah.
old.
God bless her.
Doing a buck
You
and a
know,
half at 94.
You do what you need to do at that age.
Well,
she's got
If I
places to
live that
go.
long, I'm doing every
Yeah.
risky thing
She
in
doesn't
the
have.
world.
She doesn't have the time.
She's- nope.
Literally,
No, that's
the
true.
time is running
If
out.
I don't get there in 10 minutes, I might be dead.
Exactly.
Did George
Absolutely
Bush
true.
jump out,
You're getting out
go
of bed,
parachuting when he was
Bill.
90? The
Did
older
he?
one?
Did he?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I
Good
think
for
you're
him.
right.
Good for him.
Trying
Me
to
too.
kill yourself.
That's my plan.
It's true. So what else is happening, Joe?
Same old, same old.
Same old good stuff. But sounds like,
Taking it a day at a time.
well, day at a time. You got how many years in now? You said 3?
4.
4. 4 years. Yeah, that's right. So everything's going well. Everybody in the family's happy, I'm assuming.
Yeah, quite. Especially my mom,
Yeah.
and my dad. But
No.
more my mom than my dad.
Oh, your mom's happier about it than your dad?
Well, yeah, she had to watch my older brother's life fall apart because of alcohol.
Oh, yeah. Yep. I've seen that
Now,
happen.
you know the whole story there with that. And then mine was starting to fall apart with alcohol until I decided to walk away from it
Do you do
with
any?
a lot of help from friends.
Did you do
Say
any? Did you do any meetings like what's that called again? Where they have the meetings
AA.
for AA, Alcoholics
AA.
Anonymous. Do you do any of that stuff?
Yeah,
What?
I did for a while.
The place at the gathering.
I don't know what that's
what's the
called.
place
Sounded a
where you
little
meet?
muddled this morning.
The only reason I bring it up is because they were doing the intros that were going around the circle. I'm Tom, and blah blah blah.
You
That
mean
whole
like my name is Joe and it has been 1,400 whatever days,
Yeah.
etc.
Yeah,
That's
kinda
how you
like that.
introduce
Sound
yourself.
familiar?
Kind of like that. But my favorite was there was a guy that looked exactly like Elvis Presley in that gathering. I mean, he was dressed like him. He has hair like him, had the whole deal. And about halfway through the meeting, he stood up and said, "You people need to understand something. I love to drink."
Well, I think most alcoholics do.
I might
that's
actually
kind of the-
know this guy.
You might know this guy.
So, Joe, you remember the Poodle Club on Lake Street, right?
Of course, right by Brown Institute.
Yeah, like 34th and
Yep.
East Lake, in the
Yep.
3rd District. I used to go and play there with a friend of mine on Sundays, and there was a mother and son, and she had named her son Elvis. And they
Elvis.
would show up and get completely shit-faced and then start screaming at each other. Pretty much, you could set your watch by it.
That's a
And I
great
remember
life
thinking
right
to
there.
myself, if there's ever
Dream
anybody
come
that
true.
actually needs treatment, I think those two should go. And he
Yeah,
kind of looked
True
like him. but-
alcoholics right there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, this guy.
Well,
looked
talk
just
about
like-
codependency, I think, because
Well, yeah,
somebody had taught the other person, I think, and it was
Sure.
that'll do
I
it.
think you probably have to be a hammerhead to name your son Elvis. I think I call him Elvis.
Yeah.
Treat me like a fool. Treat me mean and cruel. All right, Joe. What else is happening, Pally?
Oh, I get to hear all about that Putt Swall's coming down here today.
Oh, he's going to be in Louisville today, isn't he?
God.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's an interesting guy, isn't he? He should be a little
Sure.
more
Always
over
has
the
been.
top.
Have you guys been watching Jim Gaffigan do him on Saturday Night
Yes,
Live?
it's phenomenal.
Oh my God,
I've
is
seen
it
a couple
funny.
of clips.
It's
He's
phenomenal.
really got him down.
Gaffin's a very talented
When did he
guy.
turn into like a jazz singer guy that just sachets all over the place
I
with
don't
his
know.
jazz hands
He's got a lot of energy, that's for
Uh,
I
sure.
want to do that.
Unbelievable.
and kicks? He does kicks
I want that
now.
It's been a while since I've sashayed.
Oh,
Not a lot
I
of
probably
sashaying.
sashay a few times a day, if I'm honest.
wow.
If we're being realistic.
Just you and Fawn.
Yes, we
Yeah.
sashay a lot.
I don't know the whole situation. I wish I could find one politician that's in office right now that I would like. Is there one in America?
That North Korean guy seems pretty popular.
Yeah.
He's always getting like 90% of the vote.
Yeah, he is. I
Yeah.
wonder how that happens. If you know what I'm
Tulsi
saying.
Gabbard jumped on GOP bandwagon.
Oh, that's right. Tulsi Gabbard became a
Yep.
GOP member yesterday or something like. Somebody else did
Yeah,
too.
everyone's taking sides now. All the independents are
Yep.
jumping on board.
Well, yeah, it's because they're hoping for cabinet positions.
Yep.
and
Yeah.
Sweet
Right.
plum
Yeah.
jobs. Yep.
Well, let me ask you guys a question because I brought this up in the very first break of the morning show with these guys that I got up a little early today and I watched about 5 minutes of TV, about 2 minutes of Fox News, about 2 minutes of CNN. Couldn't stand either one of them. I did not know this, but I did some research on the way in. Do you know that the Democratic Party by far now draws the most votes from very wealthy people?
Is that right?
Yes.
Huh.
They've all become Democrats because they want to make even more money.
Well, yeah, I don't doubt it.
I just couldn't believe that, though. It's like, oh my God, those business people were all Republicans back in the day,
Well,
but now they're all
huge- you know,
Democrats. I
Huge
guess.
corporations like cheap labor.
Yes, they
That's
do.
true.
I wonder if it has to do with because I think the super wealthy people are probably in my generation and yours. They grew up in the 60s,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? And that was, I mean, talk about liberal indoctrination. If
Yeah.
you were a young person in the 60s, there were very few Republicans. I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't grow up that way. So
Yeah.
maybe that's the reason. It's just these are the people that now 40 years later have all the dough.
Yep, that's exactly
Well,
it.
but now they're saying another point they made on the national news was that the people you're talking about, the people that let's say are 28 and younger,
Yeah.
they're all voting Republican. So the thing is completely flipped.
Yeah,
That's
it's
how it
amazing.
goes.
Well, the
Every 40
Democratic-
years, everything
Yeah,
flips.
well, the
Yeah.
Democratic Party has become the party of corporate wealth and
Yeah,
well, that's what
and big government.
that's
and
what they were saying.
Not what
Yep.
the Democratic Party
No,
was
it's
supposed
not-
to
that
be
wasn't-
about.
Yeah, you're right. It's almost there.
It's
weird.
flip flopped
Yep,
completely.
everything becomes the opposite. We've got another party switch going.
Yep.
Yeah, another party switch is going on right now. Young people are voting Republican, and well, the whole thing is about making money now. Republican, Democrat, Independent. It's all about how much money you can make.
Well, yeah,
That's
that's
disgusting.
why you favor corporations, is because they pay so much tax that even alienating a single one could be devastating to your economy,
Yeah,
especially at
very true.
a state level. Like, imagine if California lost something like, Facebook or whatever.
Oh
They have
God.
lost
I mean,
quite a few to
that's-
Texas.
I mean, can you imagine just how much tax something like Google pays in a
Oh
year?
God.
No,
It's got to be the size of a small country.
Probably.
Yeah, I would assume they
Yeah.
do.
it has to
And
be.
so if
Probably
Google were to
true.
move out of California, they would destroy California at this point, I think. So they've got to do what Google wants.
Well, that's the whole deal, and big business knows that they have to do what we tell you to do.
Yep, exactly.
You're up. That's exactly what the point was this morning on the national story I read. That they have no choice; they have to do what the big donors tell them to do.
Well, and these NGOs, which are just basically operative of the government, they give great jobs to their friends and families.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, it's very, very true.
It's pretty incestuous, though.
I guess, unfortunately, we'll all go forward from there. But so, what else is happening?
Back up. So you were doing research while driving to work in rush hour.
You know,
No.
Okay.
he
I
was
did
talking
before
to
I left.
Chat GPT.
Cheap. No, I did it before I left. The
Okay,
house,
all right.
actually. I have a phone that you can get on the internet and everything.
Really?
Wow.
It's really,
When did that happen?
Really cool.
You just
man.
learned to text last year.
Still call it email.
That's true.
Shut up and leave me alone.
You just
Hey,
sent me an email. No,
Well, what,
No.
I have
What's a
not
text
emailed
message?
you.
it's still email.
not
No.
a text message is not.
I'm not saying
An
text
email.
message. I'm talking about an email.
Oh,
There is email,
and
but
there
they're
are
different.
They are
text
different.
messages.
They're
Good. I'll just shut my
separate.
phone off. That'll be
Just
real
because you
different.
receive
I
a
saw your
message.
smoke signal.
Yeah.
Right.
Just because you receive a message on your phone doesn't mean that it's email.
If they could make a phone that could do smoke signals, I would totally use it.
Absolutely.
Poof, poof. Comes
I
out.
don't-
of
You got like
your
this
phone.
little blanket you have to put over the phone, and yeah,
Oh, that's not a bad idea.
that'd be good stuff.
Sounds
I
fun.
mean, technically, all phones can make smoke signals. It's just not a great idea.
yeah.
We can only do
I mean,
it
if you
once.
set
Yeah.
anything on fire,
Yeah.
yeah,
You
exactly.
just need an ice pick and a hammer,
Yeah.
and you can only do it for a little bit.
Is that true that you can put your if you drop your phone in a lake, you can put it in a bed of rice and it'll suck all the water out of it?
They
Well,
can save them. I
generally,
saved one of
yeah.
mine once. I dropped it in the river a few years ago. And
It
Really?
depends largely on the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Oh,
there are
does
like my old and Melissa and I both had this problem. I think our Galaxy, whatever it was, S9 or something.
Sure.
So it was in my pocket, and you know how the charging port is on the bottom of the phone. So you put it in your pocket, charging port's facing up. We walked from the car to like a restaurant in a drizzle. One raindrop must have hit that charging port, and the phone was hosed.
Oh, really?
What?
Yep.
God.
Complete.
Oh,
I was
my
like,
God.
this is almost a brand new phone, and it will not charge anymore because the
There
charging
was-
port got like the tiniest bit of water in it. But then there's
That's
other
pretty sad.
phones where you can drop it in a lake, fish it out a day later, and it still works.
And
Yeah.
iPhones,
I think the iPhones
yeah,
are now
iPhones are
pretty
like that.
good
They-
about
you-
that
they
now.
can be submerged for a certain
Yeah.
amount of seconds.
To their
or
credit,
whatever.
iPhones are very good at being waterproof. Well, Samsung products are just, I've soured greatly on Samsung over the past few years.
Mhm.
I don't like their stuff anymore.
Why?
Because everything we've had of theirs is just not great. We had a Samsung TV that was not very good. The phones aren't very good.
What are the ones
um,
that Grandpa had that always had that line in it?
What was that?
What was
It was from Costco, but I don't remember what the brand was. I don't think those were Samsung.
Oh.
Alex is writing a letter.
I'm writing a letter
All right then.
It's
to
all
my
true.
future self.
I got Samsung. I haven't had any problems with them.
No? Maybe we
Oh.
just got unlucky with our stuff. All right, we've got a guest on the line, so we're gonna have to.
Yes.
All right, Joe.
See you later, Joe.
Congratulations on 4 years, man.
Happy
Congratulations.
birthday.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Very
So we'll
good.
see you in chat. All right, we have Vinny on.
Vinny,
There he is.
Hey guys, how's it going?
that's a nice that thing you got right behind you. I see your head and the word
It
fat.
just says
Fat.
fat.
Isn't that the problem though, right?
Something like that. So what's going on, Vinny?
How are you guys doing? How are you, Tom?
Well, we're trying to figure out if people have all lost their minds, because it looks like, we were just talking about the fact that it looks like pretty much from generation to generation, the political parties have flipped. Like the middling people now tend to be Democrats and the younger people tend to be Republican now. And I was told by the people on the show that happens about every 40 years, apparently.
Well, I generally don't talk politics, so your audience shouldn't take what I say seriously, but
Mhm.
it seems to me, and stop me when I'm wrong, if you take what a Democrat was, I'm
Yeah,
62, mid 80s, right? If you were a Democrat in the mid 80s and you had every single view back then that you have today,
Yep.
you are now a Trumper.
Yeah.
It's true.
I'll give you one example. I use this example on my own podcast all the time. The NRA, take the NRA, right? And people would say, well, the NRA is all the way on the right. Would everyone there agree that the NRA is on the right?
You would think.
You would think. I mean, if you have an NRA cap on, you might as well have a MAGA hat on. It's the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
true.
Yeah.
Yep.
Can we agree on that?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. The last time any gun law was changed, a Republican was in office. His name was Ronald, not Donald,
Yeah.
The other one.
Ronald Reagan. And you may remember it was the Brady bill after Ronald Reagan and Brady was shot.
Yep.
Mhm.
Okay. I'm going to do the math for you. We've had 8 years of Clinton. We had 8 years of Obama. That's 16, and 4 of Biden.
Mhm.
That's 20 years. Now the left will keep yelling, we need gun laws.
Yeah.
Well, you had 20 years.
Yeah.
Do you need 21 years? How many more years? As a matter of fact, the last gun law happened way back when with a Republican. Now,
Actually, Trump passed the last one.
Did he?
They outlawed bump stocks.
Yeah.
After
Oh
that,
yeah, the bump stock
that
law.
massacre in Las
expired.
Vegas, which now is
Which
they're
expired
legal again.
under Biden.
No, so
Yep.
it didn't count really.
well, but I'm talking about gun laws. The
Yeah.
bump stock is an accessory to a gun,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I agree, those things are not needed for anything, right? I can look, I'm a guy that owns guns. The one thing they never do when they want to make gun laws is talk to guys who actually know how guns operate.
Yeah.
Think
Right.
of it this way: every time, and I know I'm going off on a tangent I shouldn't be going off on, but what the hell, I'm here.
We love tangents.
We're
That's
going to
what we
talk. We're
do.
going to talk
That's
about
what we do.
abortion next. So.
No, we're not.
No.
Whenever, and Tom, you were in radio. If I'm thinking right, I'm going to guess 25, 30 years you were on radio.
54.
54, so I was about halfway. 54 years. So you've seen media come, go, and otherwise, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
Right. Every time a shooting happens, whether it's in a Costco or a school or whatever, if you turn on CNN or MSNBC, what are the first words out of their mouth?
Where's the money?
No,
No, that's in their head, not their mouth.
that's always the underline.
Yeah.
The first words is AR-15. We need
Yes,
to
Oh, yeah.
always.
Yeah.
Always
AR-15.
AR-15.
Now, if you do the math, very seldom have AR-15s been used. Last time I saw one used, it was used to shoot a former president of the United States in the ear,
Yeah.
Pennsylvania. Yet they didn't talk about AR-15s on that. They pretty much applauded that. So it makes you wonder if the right is the left and the left is the right.
Yeah. Absolutely correct. Vinny, that is right on the money. We just completely flip-flopped again. And I don't really have a political party one way or another. I'll try to vote if I possibly can. I'm not wild about either person right now, but I got another couple of weeks well, not anymore. I got 13 days now to figure it out what the situation is, because I do think that it is your job to vote as an American citizen who's allowed to vote. So I will get out there, but exactly, Vinny, what you've been talking about. Because I know if they can make more money, they're going to flip flop on me anyway.
Yeah, look, I'm with you, Tom. I don't do politics,
Yeah.
but I want everyone in that room and everyone listening to this podcast to think of this. Think of the most successful and the smartest person or people that you know in your life, right? And the best we can come up with for an election is a TV talk show host in America's Mom Wine.
Yeah.
Yep.
Those are the two best. We got a wine mom and we have a reality TV. And think, I know 10 people who would be a better president, like really smart people.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Yeah, this is what we're dealing with. No one wants the job.
Yeah.
It's a good point. That is a good point. So tell me about the poster over your right shoulder there, because first of all, the word fat is bigger than Vinny is, because you have an ounce of fat on your body.
We all have a little fat on our bodies, but I'm lean. I'm very lean. Look, I'm going to piss off your entire audience.
Okay.
I just got back from 90 minutes of rucking. Rucking is when you purposely throw weight on your back and go walking forever.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You know, so, and then later on today, I'm going to go work out, but this is what I do for a living. Right. And I get that everyone is not me, but, you know, we should all have some moderate amount of exercise.
Sure.
That poster behind me came up because, you know, I've been talking about, you know, childhood obesity and fat and how we're getting fat as a nation and how we're going to break under the weight of our own weight and all this crap. Ever since my radio show back in New Orleans, WSMB AM 640 on your dial, in 1987, I've been yelling about fat and how we're getting fat. So when I was living out in Hollywood still, people kept saying to me, you need to do the documentary. And I said, I'm not going to put my own money into this because I would be broke and no one makes money on documentaries. Someone came up with the idea of crowdfunding. And they said, look, if we can crowdfund $150,000, would you at least start the documentary?
Oh.
And I said, sure, because there was no way in hell anyone was going to give me a penny. Right. So I was like, yeah, you go crowdfund, whatever that is, you go kickstart it, you go fund it, you do whatever you need to do. I'm good. Well, they did. And we ended up crowdfunding in less than 30 days, $250,000.
Nice.
So, you know, that old saying, you know, the farmer is checking his fences out in Texas to make sure there's no holes in his fences for his cattle to get out. And he sees a turtle on top of the fence. And he says, turtle, how did you get up here? The turtle goes, I don't know. And he goes, turtle, how do you expect to get down? The turtle goes, I don't know. Here I'm sitting with $250,000 going, I don't know how to make a documentary. What do I do? So I got together with Peter Pardini, who's a big time deal. I think my handy cam went out. I'm going to turn it again.
Yeah.
Hold, please, because I screwed up. I'm going to be right back.
That 17X extended zoom isn't doing anything for you right now.
Yeah, there you go. There you have it.
So just so everybody knows, he has a podcast called Fitness Confidential. Has anybody heard of this? It's a very popular.
Yep.
Yeah. And he has a book also called Fitness Confidential. And he has 4 documentaries now. Okay, he's back. He can talk about it himself.
Yeah, so, yeah. I love how when Catherine said, "Hey, you guys know about it," and Tom was like, "Oh yeah, Tom's never heard of me before right now." Oh, yeah. I know the guy. Yeah.
Well, Tom doesn't listen to a lot of podcasts.
That's true.
I did to know who you were.
I'm giving you crap, Tom. Because
Backstab all the way.
We can't listen to the competition. Bad business.
Yeah, there you go.
The other podcast.
The other podcast out there.
We know he's listening to Mike Rowe and not me. So yeah, I have this money. We start doing this podcast and this documentary, and you know, sooner or later we finished it, and you know, they said, "Well, what do you want to call it?" And I said, "Let's call it Fat." And it's like, "Well, you can't just call it Fat." I went, "Okay, Fat : a documentary. Let's let everyone know it's a documentary."
Mm-hmm.
And to brag about it just a little bit, that thing came out 5 years ago. and it stays in the top 100 on Apple. It went down to number 21 over the summer. This is a 5-year-old documentary. The year it came out, it beat Free Solo, the one that won the Oscar that year, the crazy guy climbing the rock.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
If you would have told me that I would have been part of something that was that big, I would have said, there's no way possible. But I do give all the credit to Peter Pardini, who was the genius behind making it what it is.
That is terrific. And by the way, I did know who you were because I just lost 91 pounds
Really?
the last couple of years. Yep. When I was younger, I lifted a lot of weights, a lot of powerlifting, all the rest of it. And then as I got older, that muscle turned into maybe kind of fat instead of muscle.
Maybe kind of fat.
Maybe kind of fat.
I don't know.
So
Tough
yeah,
to
I just lost 91 pounds. I want to lose about another 10, 12 pounds, something like that. So when you're going to do something like, you read every bit of information you possibly can
Yeah.
about how to do it, how to get it done, all the rest of it. I'm a little older than you are, and we're at the point. I mean, you can be overweight if you want, but you're not going to be overweight for long.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to live into your late 80s if you're very heavy. It's
Yeah,
just
not a lot of
gonna-
obese 80-year-olds out there for
There
some
are not.
mysterious
There are
reason.
not. You're absolutely right.
Well, and it's not only obesity, it's all the health problems that come with it. I mean, just being a little overweight, which in our society is probably what? A little overweight is probably 20 pounds, 15 to 20 pounds.
Yeah, probably
Yeah.
true.
That has a whole bunch of problems right there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
We saw it during the pandemic, right?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
2 groups of people, by and large, died.
Yeah.
Morbidly obese and feeble, old people.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's written right in the title, morbid obesity, meaning any other comorbidity can come in and take you out. And people don't understand this. When you're morbidly obese, and you don't have to be a 400-pound morbidly obese person, you can be 250 when you should be 170, right? And if you get any other comorbidity, a good flu could take you out, right? And I don't think people realize how prevalent that is. People die every year. Every year we have tons of people who die from cold and flu season.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at those people, they're not healthy. It's unfortunate, right? They're not healthy at all.
Right. So you have like a hashtag, it's no sugar, no grains,
Grains.
Yeah.
Yep.
no grains. So this is like complete keto kind of stuff. Is that what you're preaching?
Well, that's a good question, Catherine. When I first, wrote the book, Fitness Confidential, and it became a multi-bestseller 13 years ago, I refused to put the word ketogenic in the book.
Okay.
I've been putting people on ketogenic diets, and I was a Hollywood fitness trainer, and my job was to keep actresses thin, basically. And I would have them do low carb, and it works like a charm. Hell, my grandmother from Italy knew that. If you eat bread and pasta, you get fat, right? I didn't need my college degree to tell me that.
Right.
So that's how I worked my trade for 40 years, keeping people lean. But when I took to the internet, I refused to use the word ketogenic in my book, and I would not say it on my podcast, which has always also been around for 13 years. And the reason being is I knew every doctor was going to come out and say that this guy is crazy and he's telling you that ketoacidosis is a good thing. No, ketoacidosis and ketogenic is 2 different things. And doctors don't even understand the difference. These are guys with MDs. So I refused to use it. So I said, look, if you just cut out sugars and grains, you're going to lose all the weight you want to lose, which is basically the truth. And yes, that lands you with your body using butyrates to form energy, which butyrates come from changing fat into ketone bodies, and you go into ketosis. So that's ketogenic. I would have, I own the phrase NSNG. I have that trademark. Had I knew keto was going to become a thing, I wouldn't have ever thought the word keto. No one said keto until the internet shortened it. So you're looking at one of the forefathers of keto. It's me, Gary Taubes, maybe Nina Teicholz. We started this whole deal. And then that whole deal became what it is now, keto.
Okay. Now, my brother, one of my brothers, was diagnosed with prostate cancer. And he thinks that his wife did all this research and said, you can't have any sugar when you've got cancer. Sugar feeds cancer. So he did no sugar for, I think, a year. He got so skinny, just no sugar. And I think he was eating some grains, but just the sugar. And he said, it wasn't like I'm a big sugar guy. I looked at all the labels, and sugar is in absolutely
It's in everything.
everything. So I just cut that out, and I think he dropped. I mean, and he was not a heavy guy. I mean,
No,
he's not
he's never been
never
heavy in
been
his
heavy.
life,
He's
no.
always worked out. He's always kept his weight in check. He dropped like 15 pounds just not having extra sugar in his diet.
Well, rapid weight loss with cancer is not necessarily a great thing. So I'd be careful
he
about
had
that.
But prostate, I'm a 2-time cancer survivor. So let me answer that question. Often women will go low carb,
Yeah.
and they'll get pissed off because their husband just kind of halfway,
Half-asses
half-asses
it,
it,
Yes.
and they lose more weight, because so that's the truth. All you have to do is cut it down to some degree, and you'll lose weight. And to answer your question, Andy, when I had leukemia in 2007, and that's what the book is about, Fitness Confidential. And when I was cured from it, I was still living out in Hollywood, and my doctor knew who I was and what I did for a living. I got to her through other celebrities. And when I was done with it, I said, hey, doc, listen, you told me my cancer is going to recur in 5 years. So they knocked it down to a chronic stage to where it's going to keep recurring every 5 years. I said, I'd like to make it more than 5 years, maybe 6 or 7 years. And everyone is telling me I need to juice. I need to become a vegan. One person told me you need to drink 8 ounces of wheatgrass every day. Can you imagine that? 1 ounce will make me burp for a month. Right?
Pretty nasty.
A little lemon in it.
So I'm like sitting there going, is any of this true? Can you show me one document? And she said, no, it's all just BS and none of it matters in it. And when I'm walking out of her office, she goes, hey, you're that no sugars, no grains guy, right? I said, yeah. What of it? She goes, stop eating sugar. I said, wait, whoa, what? She goes, do what you tell your clients to do. And I said, well, how does that work? And she said, it's very simple. Sugar feeds cancer. Cancer is a closed cell, and every cell needs to get oxygen to propagate. When you think of carbohydrates, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen is getting the oxygen from sugar because it's a closed cell. It's not getting it from the oxygen you're breathing. And she goes, we don't know this for certain. This is 2007, but she goes, this is where the research is headed. I did not get cancer in 5 years. I didn't get cancer in 6 years. I didn't get cancer in 10 years. 15 years went right by, no cancer.
That's great.
My leukemia did not come back until this year. I went 17 years before I had to go back on chemo. And here's the thing. Chemo was a lot easier this time because I'm not eating sugars and grains and seed oils and anything else.
How do you talk people into doing this? Because this is hard. That's a hard diet.
Yeah, like not having a cookie ever.
Yeah.
Well, you catch more flies with honey approach.
Okay.
Yeah. There you go.
'Cause I
So,
mean, there's a lot of people that are very resistant to not having their bread with, and just
well, look, I had this argument with Dr. Drew Pinsky, who's a dear friend. I said, look, Drew, sugar lights up the same area of the brain as cocaine. And Drew got all hoity-toity on me. I don't know if we were doing his show or my show because we do each other's show back and forth. And he goes, well, but cocaine does this and that and the hypopalamus. And I'm like, no. Drew. And then I just let him wax on for a bit. I said, Drew, here's the difference. We give sugar to kids at birthday parties. We don't give them Coke.
Yeah.
Generally.
Yep.
So we tell them that one of these two drugs is perfectly fine and the other one is not. So the first thing you have to do is work with the addiction. So if someone is 400 pounds and their doctor says they have fatty liver disease, sleep apnea, chronic this, that, and the other thing, okay, they need to go cold turkey on sugar for a long time. And I'm talking cold effing turkey, right? And it's like coming up, it's like going to AA, right? It's you gotta just cut it.
Sure.
Now, how do you navigate holidays which are coming up? How do you navigate birthday parties and anniversaries? I call it putting life into living. So once you have enough time to break that sugar habit, unlike alcohol, right, with the alcoholic, with sugar, you can treat it as a treat, right? When I was a kid, I had 12 Cokes a year. I know that because my dad took us to Frank DeNino's barbershop 12 times, and there was a Coke machine there, and there were 7-ounce Cokes. And by the way, I don't think I ever finished one of those 7-ounce Cokes because as soon as it got warm, I didn't even like it. I just
warm Coke is gross.
It
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
So now everyone walks around with a 64-ounce
Yeah.
or an
Bucket.
80-something ounce, a bucket with a straw with the sugar just going in. The average American is eating, depending on which study you look at, between 250 and 350 pounds of sugar per person per year.
Oh.
Yeah.
During the Lincoln administration, it was less than a pound.
Wow.
God.
I have two questions for you.
Sure.
Uh-oh.
So is this just processed sugar, or is it like maple syrup and honey, and like what do you mean by sugar?
I'm glad you asked that question because people think that somehow, it's fructose. It comes from fruit. It's better.
Yeah.
Your liver is a meritocracy. Your liver is the original OG, right? Your liver doesn't care. It doesn't go, oh, Alex just gave me sugar from honey or from agave or from a banana or a pineapple. Your liver does not give one F. Your liver goes, this is sugar. I'm going to process it as sugar. End of story. I call raisins nature's sugar turds.
Oh, that's clever.
There is no good sugar. People go, oh, this is, I'll tell you, we were talking about presidents a little while ago. Back during the Clinton administration, President Clinton did something really cool, and I agreed with him. He came out and said, we're taking soda out of schools.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Remember that? Back in the whatever?
Which definitely, I don't think schools
Same.
should have soda in
I don't
them.
even remember schools having soda in them, so that's good. I'm
Yeah.
glad.
That was
I don't think
we
so.
can all agree on that, but they didn't take the soda machines out. They replaced it with fruit juice. Well,
Yep.
everyone wouldn't think fruit juice is good.
Yep.
The sugar content in fruit juice is higher than what's in a Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. When we give our kid
Great.
fruit juice, we water it way down because otherwise it's just like, you might as well just give them a block of sugar to chew
Might
on.
as well just give him Coke the way he
Yeah.
gets
Well,
beat up on it.
And by the way, most of the fruit juice that you give them, even though it says natural on the label, sugar's natural, right?
Right.
Cocaine is natural. Heroin is natural. It's all natural. They add extra sugar to it.
we
because-
specifically seek out no added sugar things.
But,
I mean, it's still
and
fruit juice. It's still all sugar. I know.
I like the fact that you're watering it down. That's the best thing you can do. But they're not getting any particular vitamins from it. You might get some ascorbate, some vitamin C.
Mhm.
Is not really anything healthy in fruit juice, unfortunately. And look, I'm not against eating vegetables. I tell people eat vegetables. Cruciferous vegetables are good. Broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, kale. I don't know why anyone would eat kale, but kale. Spinach, which is not a cruciferous, but is good. There are a lot of great veggies, right? The only good fruit is, from what I can tell, avocado, olives. Let's see, did I mention avocado? Okay.
Yeah.
2, because they're high in fat, they're just, and they have a lot of phytonutrients in them.
Mhm.
Tomatoes are good. You just don't drink tomato juice.
No. What do you how
You
do you
can.
how do you feel about artificial sweeteners?
That was my other question.
Oh.
Whenever I talk to anyone who's morbidly obese, they're all drinking tons and tons of
Yep.
artificial sweetener soft drink.
Really?
I've never known a thin person to drink an artificial sweetener drink.
Yep.
They're addicted to it. And they will tell me that they will give up everything except quit pointing at each other. Stop
We're
pointing.
pointing
at me.
just at Tom.
Tom
They're
is
turning on me,
addicted
Vinny. They're
to-
turning on me.
Yes.
Tom, here's what I tell everyone about artificial sweeteners. I would rather see, and I'm not being funny here, I would rather see you start a filterless smoking habit to cut the artificial sweeteners out. It's a worse carcinogen than cigarettes. And I
Oh,
can-
look at the time.
He doesn't like that answer.
and Tom,
I've
by
tried
the
to tell
way,
him for so long.
if you cut it out,
Mhm.
it's going to be tough for about 7 days. But if you cut it out,
He
He's
you
done
will
it
never-
before.
he does it a
Yeah.
few times a year. He'll stop drinking it,
But
right?
then he only drinks carbonated beverages. So he'll drink like LaCroix instead of soda.
Yeah. Which
Which
is
is
it's
good.
Boy
water.
is a lot better.
Which is
Yeah.
a lot better, yes.
You know what? For Christmas, here's what I want you guys to give Tom, and give it to him before Christmas.
His birthday's coming up.
Yep. 2
Oh, good.
weeks.
Yep.
Happy birthday. You guys get together. It won't cost you a whole bunch. Get him a soda stream.
I was gonna say he's gonna
Yeah.
say soda stream.
We have one.
He won't do it.
No, he will if you do it. Just get him the damn soda stream.
We'll buy it and it'll sit there.
Well,
No,
but
I'm sorry to tell you.
you
I
can
know my
carbonate.
father.
You can carbonate 2 like big bottles worth every once a day.
I know,
That'll.
but he won't even microwave something.
Oh, but you do it for him.
No, listen,
Mom,
guys.
This is
you're
a
gonna
whole
be-
nother podcast. A whole nother
My-
podcast.
my
I agree.
buddy-
Yeah.
That's my fantasy.
My buddy did this. My buddy showed up about 7 or 8 years ago with a soda stream. One of my business partners.
Mhm.
I yelled at him. Get that, take it out of my house. My wife already has too many things on the counter. I don't like clutter. Do not leave that thing here. When you leave, take it with you. Right? He left it. And it sat there for a couple of weeks. And then one day I went, okay, I got to try this. So I put the gas in it. I do the whole thing. I drink it. The only modification I made was I went out because I don't believe in drinking from plastics, which is another whole conversation.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
I went out and bought the glass bottles that, so when you guys give it one as a gift, get the one that already comes with the glass bottles.
Okay.
We don't need Tom dying from,
Microplastics.
Well, that is true. So okay. Now, what can I put in the soda stream that has some flavor to it?
Oh God.
See, well, they have little. I don't know. They have flavorings for SodaStream.
No,
but
no,
I,
that's
I don't know anything about it.
Tom, my wife does a thing and I actually drink it sometimes. It's actually pretty good. I'm trying to think of the brand. If I can't think of it here, I will write to Andy and Catherine, whoever wrote to me, and get it to you. She buys this ginger. It's a ginger juice. She gets it on Amazon,
Ooh, I like that.
and she puts a little ginger. Now she's nuts. My wife is nuts. She's an actress, so she doesn't have a choice. She also puts a little turmeric in there, right?
Right.
Don't
Oh.
worry about the turmeric. Just put the ginger juice, mix it in with that soda water. You're going to think you died and went to heaven.
All right. I love ginger, no doubt.
Me too. It's great. Soothing on your stomach. It's
Yeah.
good all the way around.
Sure is.
You could do that. Sometimes in the summer, I'll take a lemon and just drop it in there and let the essence go with it.
sure. Yep.
You could do the same thing with an orange peel. Just get the orange and get the peel and just get that oil in there
Mm,
and just twist it in there like you're doing.
some zest.
Yeah, the zest, like with the espresso.
Yep.
It will taste better than the, who mentioned LaCroix a minute ago?
Me.
Alex.
Alex.
Yeah. It's better. It's like a fresh LaCroix
Mhm.
when you do this stuff. It might be Lucy's ginger juice. Maybe look up Lucy's.
Okay.
Well, I'm talking to you guys. I'm going to look it up.
Yeah, Lucy's ginger juice is a thing, so I'm guessing that's what you're
Do you have
thinking
to get it
of.
online or is it available at stores?
Yeah, I'm sure Whole Foods has it. Some of those douchebag stores will have it. Yeah, it's Lucy's.
One of those.
It's Lucy's. but I'm sure if you walked into any, hippie store, you'll find it.
Sure.
I was just in one last night. I'll look for you
Whole
next time I
Foods?
go. I go every week to
Where were you,
my
Lake
hippie
Winds?
store. No, I love Lake Winds better, but Whole Foods is where I was already, and I
Yeah.
needed
Oh,
some
okay.
stuff.
I used to go to
so-
Whole Foods all the time, but I haven't gone in. I don't even know the last time I've been to a Whole Foods.
Well, yeah,
Well,
you
Trader
live nowhere near a
Joe's-
Whole Foods.
Well, there's that.
Trader Joe's is definitely.
Trader Joe's is
But
where
here's
it's
the
at.
thing:
Yeah.
I can't get everything I need at Trader
No.
Joe's.
No, you can't.
It's a whole
Yeah,
lot.
Trader Joe's is great. They started in California, so
Yeah.
for about 30 years, Trader Joe's used to be it used to smell like hippie feet, like
Mm.
No, it's better.
until there was like corporate takeover, and they made it a national thing. Now it's great. We use it. But yeah, Mrs. Gooch. Remember Mrs. Gooch's? Tom and Doug are probably the only two that remembers
I do.
Mrs. Gooch's?
Mrs. Gooch's, and that became, they sold to Whole Foods.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, they were big.
I love the whole light. All right, so now I'm gonna get help. So basically, what I can do is, because we spend a lot of time in Florida as well, so I can, for my birthday, which is on November 7th, which is not my birthday anymore because Andy's son was born November 7th and stole my birthday.
I think you can
But-
share a birthday with somebody.
I can get one Soda Stream for my birthday,
Yeah.
and then get another one for Christmas. So I'll have one in Florida and one here. It'll
There
be
we go.
perfect.
So
You
it's
guys are covered. You guys are covered. You just buy two at the same time and just give them out to Tom at different times.
There
Yeah.
you go.
constantly
There you
give
go.
The
them
bulk
soda
discount.
streams.
So also, I just have a question because it's hard for people a lot of times to make these changes, but the emotional eating part seems to be the hardest to overcome for most people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How do you address that? Or do you just not go that far with your advice?
No, I do. As a matter of fact, I started a group called, the VIP group over at VinnieTortorich.com. And it's an accountability group because, I have a friend who is in AA and has like 38 years sobriety. And I was like, man, if only I can, because I do these consults with people, but I realize most people can't afford a one-on-one,
Mhm.
right? So it's like, how can I talk to a lot of people and make it come on like this? We do it on StreamYard, just like this show. And we have like 1,000, maybe 1,200 people in that group. And even if they don't talk, even if they don't come on live to ask me a question, they can go back and watch it, or they can just sit because most people have the same problems. And we talk through these things. I think part of my success over 40 years is that most everyone in my family is morbidly obese. So
Really?
yeah, I have this, people go, what's in it for you? Why are you doing? It's like, because everyone I love is fat,
Mhm.
right? And I know what it takes. I know the struggle, right? So I know what to do. I know how to talk to people, and we do it through that group. But if you don't do that group, doing it with a friend, having accountability to someone else, husband, wife, best friend, is always the best way to do it. Being on that island by yourself, you might as well find a volleyball and call it Wilson, because you're going to need someone to talk to or someone to do. It's impossible to do it alone.
Mhm.
That's why. Look, I could have stopped doing the podcast a gazillion years ago because I own a vitamin company and a foods company. I don't need to do the podcast,
Mhm.
but it's a passion from hell where I can't stop. Right? It's like I can't stop because I know there are people out there counting on me 3 times a week to do the podcast, to do the VIP, the call-ins, and we all need help, right?
Sure.
And that's what we're doing.
Mhm.
Everybody needs somebody. I think there was a song about that one.
Everybody loves.
Yeah, because it does seem like obesity is just sort of like anorexia in a different, manifested in a different
Well,
way.
it's an eating
It's like some-
disorder,
yeah.
binge
Yeah.
eating.
Yeah, it's an eating disorder. But anorexia is, you're right. They're both different sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
Anorexia is you're trying to control the one thing you can control, right? And I've seen people die from it, I've worked with people who have died from it. It's very sad. It's very difficult. Bulimia falls somewhere on that coin too.
Yeah.
Sure.
And on the other side, you know, when people are overeating, they're trying to comfort themselves the same way someone might, you know, take
Yep.
a smoking break or do drugs or drink or whatever else. It's the same thing. And I sound like Dr. Phil when I say this, but eating is that dog you need to take for a walk at least 3 times a day, right? We need it to sustain life.
Right.
You know, we don't need drugs or alcohol or cigarettes to sustain life, right? Those are add-ons, but you need to take that dog for a walk. So you need to figure out which dog you want to take for a walk, right? And I get it. Eating meat is not as comforting as eating a pizza or a hoagie or, you know, a big mac and cheese bowl or whatever, right? I get it. But when you are going to die, it's time you need to take stock in yourself and figure out what you're going to do.
We
Sure.
have one question from the chat. Do you have any strong opinions on caffeine?
Full disclosure, I also own a coffee company.
So it's good then.
So he likes it.
It's full of antioxidants. It's fantastic.
So,
Cheers.
so full disclosure, caffeine is, there's nothing wrong with caffeine. As a matter of fact, they find, you know, according to anything you can study, coffee next to water is the healthiest thing you can drink. Even the American Heart Association came out and said that for every cup of coffee you drink per day, you increase the chances of not having a heart attack by 10%.
I think I'm going to hit 160. Vinny, you're my new best friend. Thank you.
I have an espresso bar, right? You see, you can actually see some of my coffee on the corner of it right there.
There you
Pure
go.
Coffee Club. I have an espresso bar. Most people have a bar in their office. I have a coffee bar. That's how addicted and how good coffee is when it comes to health. If you notice, I have a squat rack right behind me. This whole area is a gym, a coffee bar, and on that end of the room, that's where we watch football, right? So
There
it's
you
a
go.
lounge chair and a big. So everything I can do right from this office. Right next to me is a rowing machine. Right next to that are 2 spinners. Because if I'm going to watch TV, I'm going to watch it from a spinner. If I'm going to drink anything besides water, and I drink water all day long, it's always next to me, I'm drinking coffee. There is nothing wrong with coffee. Everything about coffee. As a matter of fact, I just saw a Dutch study. Someone sent it to me on Twitter this morning where they're saying one of the compounds in coffee actually helps you lose weight. Now, I looked at the study. It wasn't a double-blind study, and they did not have a control group. But what they were saying is when you make coffee through an espresso machine or Turkish coffee, where you're boiling the coffee within itself, or a French press, you're getting this other oil from the coffee that actually helps you lose weight.
Mm-hmm.
That could be total BS. I don't know. But it was an article I read probably an hour ago, 2 hours ago, because I was rucking an hour ago. So within the last 2 hours, I just read that.
Do you feel like you have? I have a heartburn issue, so I found a low acid organic coffee, which isn't as flavorful as regular coffee. But all these things are coming out about funguses in coffee and all of this stuff. Do you feel
That was created by Dave Asprey. I could tell you everything you want to know about coffee. Dave Asprey, who's a huckster, he's the bulletproof guy.
Oh, yeah.
So he said, you know, every single coffee on the planet, because I source coffees from around the world, you know, African countries, I go to Costa Rica and buy coffees. I go to Hawaii. I go all around the world. Every coffee everywhere has mycotoxins. Every coffee, except magically the ones that Dave Asprey sells. So, I don't know how that works, but we also source coffee. He goes, "Oh, I have those private source." No, we all know where you get your coffee from, pal. We all go compete for the same coffee, and so mycotoxins. You would have to drink 20 gallons of coffee every day to have those mycotoxins do anything to you. Here's the other thing. I'm going to change your world, Catherine.
Okay.
Write this down. Got a pen?
Alex is
I'm
ready
ready
it for
for
me.
Toddy, Toddy. I do not have any connection to this company. Get yourself a Toddy coffee maker. It's cheap. And here's what you do. You take a pound of your favorite coffee.
Mm-hmm.
You pour it in the Toddy, the whole pound, ground up, not whole bean, of course.
Okay.
And then you fill it with water. Cold, room temperature water.
Okay.
You stir it up a little bit. Now, what I like to do, this is a pro tip, take a piece of saran wrap and put it over the top, and then put a book on top of that in case you have a cat.
Okay.
Go over and try to, so put a book or something. Now, the Toddy people will tell you, Alex, keep writing, please.
Yep. I'm on it.
Yeah, you're working for me now. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
They tell you 12, 15 hours. Okay, that's BS. I grew up on a bayou in Cajun country. Nobody goes less than 24 hours. I would tell you go at least 36.
Okay.
Just let it steep for 36 hours. If you want to go 48, I may have to get a divorce and marry you.
So you need two. You
Lucky
need 3 or
gal.
4 toddies is what you need.
Yes. No, you just take 36 hours in that one toddy canister, and then at 36 hours, pull the plug and let that gold just see. And it's going to take about an hour to go into the thing. Now, number one, you just saved a ton of money because you made a coffee concentrate.
Okay.
Okay. So what you're going to do, let's say you want a hot coffee in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
You take your cup and you put about that much, about 2
Okay.
fingers.
All right.
And then you make hot water and you dump the hot water in there.
Oh, so it's like a coffee concentrate.
Yeah.
It's a coffee concentrate. Now, I know Trader Joe's sells one. Do this. Number one, you're going to save money. Number two, it's better. So you're making your coffee as thick or as light as you want it.
Sure.
And if you want an iced coffee, it's the best iced coffee you will ever have, period, hands down.
Oh, I
I
love
do
it.
love a nice coffee.
Yep.
You take your big glass, put a little bit at the bottom. And by the way, Tom, for
Yes,
you,
sir. Yes, sir.
soda. You soda stream, you put the soda in there, bada bing, bada boom, a couple of cubes of ice, boom. That's
Yep.
the way. So you can make soda coffee with it. You can make iced coffee. So with tap water, you can make hot coffee. Here's the beauty. All the acid, you didn't heat it. So the acid, you just got the oils and you got all of the good stuff out.
Mhm.
You didn't heat it. You're not going to get acid tummy.
So cold press has less acid.
Yeah, it's not pressed, but yeah, it's
Or
cold. drip.
cold whatever.
Cold brew.
Cold brew. I mean.
Cold brew, not less acid. Yeah, well, wait, yes, some acid, but you will. Number one, you'll think that you're drinking a chocolate. Like if you put a little heavy cream in there with it on your iced coffee,
Yum, yum,
you're
yum.
going to think you're drinking ice cream.
Oh, I like it.
Cold brew is really good stuff, but isn't it really high caffeine compared to normal coffee?
It's about the same.
Is it?
Yeah, you might get more, but caffeine is. There's nothing wrong with caffeine. That's something Dr. Drew taught me this. Caffeine, nicotine, almost the same stimulant.
Really?
Neither one of them are bad for you. They can rattle your nerves if you have too much, right? Some people have just a little caffeine. Same thing happens with, if you took straight nicotine, it doesn't do anything to you. It's when you smoke a cigarette, it's all the other crap
Yeah.
Yeah.
that tells you your VLI gets coated with, tar and everything else, and it causes cancer, right?
Huh.
But nicotine, and by the way, folks, don't get a nicotine habit. You don't want to do that.
No, you can get addicted to it easily.
Yeah, think about it. Everyone, they'll die before they'll stop smoking, right? So you don't
Yeah.
want that to happen. But
Okay,
yeah,
so let's say okay, so you love coffee, but you do get jazzed up on it.
Mhm.
Decaf is okay. Still
some decaf.
some decaf.
Alex, you got your pen now?
I got it. I'm ready.
He's good to go.
There's something called the Swiss water method. If you cannot get the water method to get rid of caffeine from coffee,
Okay.
do not drink it, because the rest of it is done through a chemical process. They use some of the same chemicals that they use in dry cleaning your clothes.
Oh God.
my
And
God.
some of that stays behind. We're discontinuing my decaf because it just wasn't a big seller, and I did the Swiss water method over at. So if you want to get some good, you can go to. I think we're discontinuing it, so whatever's left, you can go grab some
Okay.
from purecoffeeclub.com. But you don't have to get anything from my company. You can find other companies that use the Swiss water method to do the same thing.
Okay.
Okay, I know we
That's
got.
great advice.
We only got a couple more minutes here because, my God, you're a great guest. You were never getting rid of us now, Vinny. You know that, right?
Listen, I love you guys. If you want me back once a week, I'll come back
love
from
it.
walking. I'm here.
What
I'm
do you
loving
think,
you.
That'd be great.
Alex and Catherine?
A listener suggested Vinny for us.
Oh, it was a
Like, yeah,
listener?
he's like, you would love him. He's great. You need to have him on your show.
Oh, that's nice. Who was it? Do you know the name? Or
I'd have to dig through my DMs, but
I only have 2 listeners. It can't be that many.
Is it Bill or Patty?
Bill or
I love those guys.
Yeah, we got rid of Jonathan. He was a pain in the butt.
Yeah, nobody likes that.
I got to mention this, ladies and gentlemen, because the one on the bottom is very, very cool. Okay, you got Fat, a documentary. You can pick that up. You got Fat, documentary 2. Pick that up as well. Then the third book you can pick up, Beyond Impossible. Okay. But the fourth one, Monty by Vinny, looks like a wonderful. Is that
Wait,
a key
Tom.
story?
Wait, hang on. None of those were books. So the 2
Oh, they're not
books.
books?
All right. So Monty is a book.
Yeah.
It was a children's book I wrote on a bet. That one is no longer in print, but I bought the rights back from the book company. I'm reconfiguring Monty and I'm putting it out again as a book. The book is Fitness Confidential. And it's also on Audible. It was up for Audible of the Year, up against